boys and girls, let's go ahead and solve our Thursday work. We need to count forward by 10, starting with 432. And we need to pay close attention to the number in the tens place because that's the number that will be changing. So if I add 10, that number will go up by 1. So instead of 432, it's 442. 10 more would be 452, and 10 more would be 462. Now we're going to count forward by hundreds, starting with the number 102. This time, we're going to pay special attention to the number in the hundreds place. So 102, 202, 302, 402. Now let's solve the following problems. 11 plus 7 equals 18. 13 minus 9 equals 4. 5 plus 12 equals 17. 14 minus 8 equals 6. 10 plus 8 equals 18. And 18 minus 2 equals 16. A chipmunk needs to gather 90 nuts for the winter time. He has gathered 54 so far. How many more does he need? So when we think about this problem, we can really solve it in two ways. We can solve it with subtraction, or we can solve it with addition. So let's take a look at both of those. So we know that the chipmunk needs 90 nuts. We know that he's gathered 54 so far. So if we subtract those two numbers, it will leave us with what he still needs to get. Or if you think about it as an addition problem, we know he has 54. We know he needs some more, and eventually he'll have 90 nuts. So you could solve it by subtracting or by adding up. I'm going to choose to solve it by subtracting, and I'm going to use the strategy where I subtract the 54 in parts. So I know that 54 is really a 50 and a 4. So I'm going to subtract it in those parts. So when I begin with 90, I'll subtract the 50 first. And I know that 9 minus 5 is 4. So 90 minus 50 is 40. Now that I've subtracted the 50, I only need to subtract the 4. So I have 40 minus 4, and that leaves me with 36. All right, next, I need to find the sum of 56 plus 37. And I know that 56 is really a 50 and a 6. I know that 37 is really a 30 and a 7. So I'm going to begin by adding the tens. And if 5 plus 3 is 8, 50 plus 30 is 80. Now I need to add the ones. And I have 6 plus 7. And I know the double, 6 plus 6 is 12. So one more, 6 plus 7 would be 13. Now when I'm thinking of 80 plus 13, I'm going to first add on the single 10. So 80 plus 10 is 90, and 90 plus 3 more equals 93. Now I need to find the difference of 87 minus 54. And notice up here, when I subtracted 54 in parts, I already separated that number out into a 50 and a 4. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here. So I'm going to start with my 87, and I'm going to subtract the 50. And I know that 8 minus 5 is 3. So 80 minus 50 would be 30. So 87 minus 50 would be 37. And now that I have 37, I just need to subtract the remaining 4. And 7 minus 4 is 3. So my answer is 33. Now it's asking us to compare the difference in these length in these two rectangles. And if you notice, they're lined up on a ruler measuring in centimeters. So the very first thing I need to check is to make sure they both begin in the same spot at 0. That's very helpful. Now if I look at the smaller rectangle, I can see it's lined up with the 5. So the smaller rectangle is 5 centimeters. The larger rectangle is lined up with the 11. So it is 11 centimeters. And to find the difference, or the answer, I just need to subtract the two numbers. So 11 minus 5. Well, I know that 10 minus 5 is 5, so 11 minus 5 is 6. My answer is 6 centimeters. Next, we have an open number line, and we need to model 18 more than 27. So that means I'm going to start with 27, and I'm going to add 18 more on. And 18 is a 10 and an 8. So I'm going to start over here on the left-hand side, since I know I need to have a larger number at the end. And I'm first going to do a big 10 jump. So this is plus 10. And 27 plus 10 is 37. Now I need to jump on 8. I need to jump on 8 single jumps. So let's do that now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And let's see where we ended up. So 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. So 18 more than 27 is 45. Right, and finally, a piece of wood is 9 feet long. James cuts off a piece that is 2 feet long. How long is the wood now? So I know the piece of wood was originally 9 feet. We cut off or subtracted 2 feet, and that leaves me with the answer of 7. And because this is a story problem, I need to label. So my answer is 7 feet. Great job, second graders.